I'm currently reading Venerable Fulton Sheen's The Life of Christ. It's a real classic. Don't know why I never got to it until now. It's fantastic. It's quite impressive. I know more now why he's venerable and in process for beatification and canonization. His insights into the scriptures, into the dynamics of the life of Christ and our own, again, connection to him, I find most stimulating. I just finished the chapter on Judas, most intriguing. Never quite saw the whole story from this particular perspective, and it was very clear, though again, it's easy to miss it. And that is that Judas was loved by Jesus as much as the rest of the disciples, even and maybe more so when it was clear that he was unable to follow him. He was going to betray him. It's interesting how Bishop Sheen clarifies the number of moments where Jesus almost bends over backwards to try to help Judas to come back, if you will, without a severity, without pointing it out even to anybody else. He knew it, but the disciples were clueless. Well, we hear that in the Gospel of John at the Last Supper. Jesus says somebody's going to betray. Who? Who is it? They don't know who it is. And even when it's pointed out to Peter and John, the rest still don't get it. They don't know who it is. Because when Jesus says, go and do what you have to do, they think, it says in the text, that he's going out to prepare for something or to give some money to the poor or something. They don't even know what that meant. So Jesus, in a certain sense, hid the dastardly stuff that was going on behind the scenes that Judas was involved in. Again, why? Because he loved him. He didn't want him to continue. He didn't want to shame him. He wanted to invite him to see what he was doing and to change his mind, change his heart. And so that was just amazing to see this to the very end, even in the Garden of Gethsemane. It's like, you betray me with a kiss? It's like, don't you know what you're doing? Can't you see the contradiction? Please, in effect. Not like, you dashed, you're going to hell, No, none of that. No fear-based stuff. It's only love. So we need to hear this gospel properly. I tried to help today better do this because, again, I haven't picked it up well enough myself in the past. There's a tendency when we hear Jesus speak to the Pharisees, the scholars of the law, that he's reaming them out. Because that's what we do. We project that onto Jesus. But if that really is Jesus' attitude, then he is condemning himself in what he says. Because he says, don't do that. So if he's not living it, he's contradicting himself. So once again, I think we have to pick up. Jesus is going to give his life for Pharisees and for scholars of the law, as much as anybody else. In a certain sense, more for them, because they don't understand, they don't appreciate. And so the woe is more in the sense of, don't you see? Please, look at the contradiction. You say, and then you do, and it's not matching. Please, in effect. It's almost like another parallel might be if you have a child or a grandchild, a friend, somebody who is really in the woes of addiction. You know that just screaming at them, telling them to stop, ain't going to do nothing. It's not going to help. But if you try to say, don't you know, you're only hurting yourself more by continuing to do this, please. That's a different way to speak that truth in love. That's what that means. Oh, truth has to be there, but with love has to be there too. And I think we get that balance in this gospel in a way that we sometimes might miss.